Hello, fourth grade friends, and welcome to day 3 of using multiplication as a comparison. This is our last day of workbook pages, believe it or not. Tomorrow we'll be doing our blue eye ready, and then we'll have our quiz on the next day. So our comprehension check will actually be Thursday because today we have workbook pages 117 and 118 to do. There's no school tomorrow. Wednesday, you'll be doing your blue eye ready, and then Thursday will be our comprehension check. So make sure, friends, if you have any questions at all, today is the day that you join our meet and ask if you haven't already. So today we're going to be doing 117 and 118 together, and then you're going to be logging on to Google Classroom to work on an independent practice. So make sure you're following along, asking questions where you need to, and let's get started. So we're going to start on page 117. With number 1. Mia plants 8 seeds. Her sister plants 6 times as many seeds as Mia. How could you find the number of seeds Mia's sister plants? And friends, they want us to answer the question with this too, so we have to make sure we're answering the question. So we're going to start by drawing a bar model. So Mia plants 8 seeds. So I'm going to have a box with an 8 in it, okay? That's my first group. This is how much Mia plants. But her sister plants 6 times as many. So that means I'm going to have to draw a bar with 6 groups in it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, she plants 6 times as many as Mia. So Mia had 8. So each of these boxes will have an 8 in them. And then this is where we add them up. And you can either count on, skip count, or you can just know your multiplication facts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 8. And many of you know that rhyme. 6 times 8 is 48. So we know that we have 48 plants that her sister planted. And that's all we have. That's what we have. She did 48. But now we need to make a multiplication sentence to help us. So we can say 48 is equal to 6 times 8. So she planted 48 seeds. And then we're going to circle it because in 4th grade we circle our answer so it's easily seen. And then that's how we would go about solving it. So again, Mia planted 8 seeds. Her sister planted 6 times as many as Mia. So we have to keep that 8 because we needed help. We need that help because that's how many Mia did. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 8. We know that's 48. So her sister planted 48 plants. Now it's important, friends, that you're using these bar models and not just doing the multiplication because these bar models are going to be popping up on that quiz, I promise. So moving on. Number 2, how is 4 times as many as 7 related to 7 times as many as 4? And we know this, right, friends? We know that in multiplication, order doesn't matter. So if we have 4 times as many, so 4 times 7, and we have 7 times as many, 7 times 4, we know that these two will have the same product, right? The same answer in multiplication is the product. So we'll have the same product. Order of factors, right? So the 4 and the 7 don't matter in multiplication. And we know that from last year, right? So order of factors don't matter in multiplication. And we know that from last year, right? Super duper easy. So 4 times 7 would be 28. 7 times 4 would be 28. So we have to remember that, friends, if you're ever checking your work and it sounds a little funky. If you say 4 times as many as 7 is 28, but then you say 7 times as many as 4 is 208 or 38, you know something's up because these are going to give you the same product every single time. Moving on, we have number 3. So number 3 says Sergio found 4 pennies on the ground. His sister said she found 2 times as many pennies. Sergio figured out that his sister found 6 pennies, so he thinks she has 6. What did Sergio do wrong? So what did he do wrong here? If he had 4 pennies and she said he had 2 times as many pennies than him, and he said she had 6, what did he do? Now for this one, it's pretty simple. We can just see that he had 4, she said she had 2 times as many, and then he came out with 6. So if you just add 4 and 2 together, we know that gives us 6. So instead of multiplying, it looks like Sergio did some adding instead. So Sergio added 4 and 2 instead of multiplying, right? And we can see that if she found 2 times as many pennies as him, she would have found 8 because 4 times 2 is 8. So he is off. She found 8 pennies, not 6. Okay? This one's a little tricky and it takes a little bit of extra thinking. So if you have any questions, make sure you're pausing and asking today, because next time we meet, we'll be doing iReady. So today's your day to ask questions, friends. So moving on, we have 2 more practice problems, and then I want you to do this on your own and then tell me, okay? So this is what you'll tell me after we complete 4, okay? So you're going to show me 2 ways you can think about 5 times 8 is 40. But before we do that, we're going to finish 4, and then you're going to tell me in the chat how to do it for number 5. So number 4 says, Paige and Ben each babysit 1 week. Paige babysits for 3 times as many hours as Ben. Ben babysits for 7 hours. So this one's a little tricky. They kind of gave us the problem backwards. So Paige and Ben each babysit 1 week. So we know this is a 1 week time. Paige babysits 3 times as many hours as Ben. Ben babysits 7 hours. Now usually, friends, this information is flip-flopped. So it would say Ben babysits for 7 hours, Paige babysits for 3 times as many hours as Ben. So we're not using the 3 here, we're actually using the 7, because this is what Paige's total number of hours is based off of. So we're going to start by making our group of 7. So Ben babysat for 7 hours that week, right? Now, this is Ben. I'm going to label it Ben, and then this will be Paige. Paige did 3 times as many, so we're going to have 3 groups of that 7, okay? Because she babysat 3 times as many hours as Ben, and Ben babysat 7, so we need to have 3 groups of 7. Now, we have to add or multiply these numbers together, so you can either skip count, count on, multiply, to figure out how many hours Paige worked, and we can see that Paige babysat 21 hours because 7 plus 7 plus 7 is 21, 7 times 3 is 21, whichever way you want to look at it. So we can say that 7 times 3 is equal to 21 hours. Okay? And that should be pretty simple at this point, being able to pull these numbers out of a word problem, make them into their groups, and then solve it with the multiplication sentence. Now, look at your model and now write a different word problem that could also be represented by this model. I'm sorry. And then write an equation that the model represents. Now again, this would be a different kind of word problem, but you can still use Ben and Paige. So, for example, we could say, Ben rode his bike for 7 miles. Paige rode her bike for 3 times as many miles. How many miles did Paige ride? And then we would have the same exact equation, right? We would have the same model, same numbers. We have the 7 and the 3. So it would still be 7 times 3 is equal to 21. But instead, we would have the miles. Okay? And this is just an example. It's just like yesterday. Just like yesterday with the word problems. As long as we have the same numbers, the word problem does not really matter. The story of it does not matter as long as you have the numbers in the right place. Okay? So again, if you have any questions on 4, please feel free to join our meet. And then don't forget, you have to come to the meet and show me 2 ways you can think about 5 times 8 is equal to 40. So if you have any questions, today is your day to ask. I hope to see you in the meet, and happy math.